So, episode, what was it, 10?
Yeah, 10.
It's called Inmates.
Mm-hmm.
Season 4, episode 10, Inmates. So this one is like, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of this episode. It's just a little bit of like a catch-up refresher about what's going on with each of these group of characters. So it starts off with Beth and Daryl, which I hate this combination to begin with. But it starts with Beth, like, talking to her diary. And she's like, I forgot about you. I used to talk to you every day. And then the world just became batshit, and I don't talk to you at all now. And it is about her diary, but we like to pretend like it's Jimmy, because she, I mean, she obviously didn't care about Jimmy. Jimmy was sacrificed and exploded.
That's right.
And she doesn't care.
No,
like,
not at all. She
didn't
was
shed
glad
a tear.
that he died.
Right. She's like, God, thank God I don't have to do it now.
Yeah. Now she can hump Daryl.
Like, like, never shed a tear, never brought him back up, anything like that. So, I don't even remember what they're doing.
I believe they're in that opening scene, if I'm remembering correctly. They're like running from walkers.
Okay.
I think that, or something
right.
like that. Yeah, in the opening scene, and so it's it's like her writings from this diary from when they were in the prison and they were safe, because she's like, well, now, like, my dad says everything's gonna be just great, and now I can write in my diary, and now I can, like, we can live a normal life again,
But she's also saying, like, I don't want to get too used to this.
You're right,
like,
yeah, Yeah, she's like, can it last?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it switches to Tyrese and Mika and Lizzie.
Yes, yeah.
And then we see that he also has Bomb.
Judith. Yeah, as a very
Alive.
dramatic, like, turnaround,
Right.
and he's got her in, like, a baby carrier.
Right. And
yeah.
they're running from walkers also. And then they hear some screaming, and Tyrese, like, hands Lizzie Judith and is like, you stay here, I'll be right back. And goes and finds, like, these people on the side of the highway that are literally just getting eaten alive and, like, torn apart. And they're not even trying. Like, the people are not trying to save themselves. They're just like, oh, I guess I'm getting eaten now.
Yeah, they're very lazy. It's very lazy about getting them bitten and killed. And, yeah, it's none of it makes sense. And Tyrese is, like, just bashing one walker for like 10 minutes
While
during this. He's like, I'm gonna
Right.
save you, and then he like runs in and just like goes on one walker like long after its head is gone, and he's just like bash, and like the other and those people are getting attacked, and
Right.
yeah.
And then they're like, Tyrese, and he turns around and
Well, because is that when? Because is it? Yeah, Lizzie's the crazy one. Lizzie is like suffocating Judith.
to try to get her to stop
yeah,
crying.
because she's crying. Well, I mean, more importantly, because she wants to suffocate her.
Right,
like,
but at this point,
yeah.
like, they make it seem like it's because she's crying.
No, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Because I mean, you're correct, but they make it very clear that she's like enjoying like almost killing her, and this is like we definitely know Lizzie is into killing things by this point.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
And one of the guys that, like, as he's dying, he says, like, stay on the tracks. It'll take you to a civilization. And you had the good point that, like, it almost sounds like this guy was, like,
A termite from Terminus.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
like, sent out there to find people and to recruit them.
Yeah, like possibly, doing something, like, because just I don't know, just the way he says it seems kind of, it sounds like he makes it sound like he knows what he's talking
It's
about.
not just like, oh, I've heard, like, yeah.
Right, he doesn't say
There's rumors about. So it doesn't seem like he was like, oh, I heard this rumor,
Right,
or like,
right.
I saw a sign.
yeah,
like,
he's not like
I know of this place. Like, I mean, he doesn't physically say those words, but like the way he's saying it makes it sound.
but
like,
it sounds like he knows what he's talking
yeah.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
which kind of, and I have no
it's
idea if
kinda
that was the
like-
intention, but it makes it sound like he maybe was actually, like, these guys were actually, like, from Terminus.
Right.
And not now he's like, well, I guess I'll just send them along to get eaten, even though I'm going to die, you know?
Well, it's kind of like Aaron with Alexandria later on. Like, his job is to go out and find people and recruit them.
Right.
So, like, maybe that's what this guy was doing.
That's very possible. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then either Lizzie or Mika, I can't remember which one, they're like, Tyrese, and he turns around and Carol is with them. And she's holding Judith and, like, holding hands with one of the girls. And everything is so la-di-da. Because Carol's back. And that they're, like, her surrogate daughters, which they don't want to be.
Yeah, that's a terrible, terrible thing.
And then...
It's a terrible thing.
And then it switches to Maggie, and she's with Bob and Sasha.
Yeah,
and they come upon the bus that was from the prison, and they see, like, all these walkers inside, and Maggie's like, I have to know if he's in there. And so Sasha and Bob are like, okay, we'll let one walker out at a time through the back door, because she's like, I have to see their face, it has to be me. Like, she's so... I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I like Maggie and Glenn, but they are, like, obsessed with each other. To a point where, like, they put other people in danger.
Which I think makes sense, but that's okay.
I just think it's, like, a little bit over the top. Like, oh, well. But,
I mean, there were easier ways to do this thing with the boss.
Yeah.
Like, they could have, like... I don't know, gotten up, like, found a sharp, long stick and, like, gotten up to a window or something, like, broken a window and just, like, stabbed them through the window. I don't know, you know. Like, there's no need for this thing where they, like, are letting them fall out and then stabbing them, and
Yeah, and then, like, they kind of overpower the back door and they all push out, and so then they have to kill all of them, and then Maggie's, like, looking to see if any of them are Glenn, and then gets in the bus to see if any of them are Glenn, and... surprise, none of them are Glenn.
There's like one at the very end who she's like, oh no, is it Glenn?
Right,
but then
she
it's
thinks it
not.
is,
Yeah, of course it's not, you know.
So then the fourth group we see is, well, not a group, it is Glenn. He like was in the prison and woke up.
He got like knocked out when like that bridge was blown up.
Yes.
And he was like on one, so then he wakes up and he's like hanging above all these walkers down on the ground who are trying to eat him.
And, like, he can't jump across the bridge because it's blown up. And so he finds some riot gear. And...
he goes back to, like, their room or their cell. And he's got the riot gear, which I have an issue with because, I mean, I think they should have been able to find more suits of the riot gear during their time at the prison because they make it seem like, I mean, I think the only ones... Okay, so we definitely see him and Maggie wearing it, you know, like at some point during that whole time. And I think like maybe T-Dog wore it, and then, you know, before he got eaten.
No, right.
T-Dog,
it is T-Dog.
Same character pretty much.
Right, like, we're going to kill this character, T-Dog, and replace him with another character
very
whose name
similar.
starts with T.
But also we created the character of T-Dog just to... like, be there until Tyrese, you know, comes in, you know, because in the comics, I think, what did they, like, found Tyrese, like, I don't know, like, before they got, like, right, I think shortly before they got to the prison, so, like, it would have been, you know, it would have been, like, I can't remember if it was on that farm, I think it might have, I think he was there, like, when they were on the farm. So, but anyway, so they were like, oh yeah, let's just create this, like, character who's very similar. You should have just, like, introduced him from the beginning and made it one character if they wanted to do that. Oh, anyway, so, there should have been more riot gear because, like, there would be, I don't know, maybe, there would be, like, at least a dozen suits.
Well,
or so throughout the entire prison. What
and
were you
like
gonna
when
say?
they first got to the prison, they encountered several walkers with the riot
That
gear.
is where they got
And,
theirs.
yeah,
Yeah, they
but
like
there-
they took it off
But
those
there
walkers.
had to be more than two. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there were several.
Because I mean, I specifically remember 3. There were like 2 with the helmets and 1 with
Okay.
the gas mask.
Okay.
But there definitely might have been more.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, I guess you could say that like maybe the guards who fled the prison took it with them. But I don't know. I
bet
think
you
they
could
should
say
have been
that.
able to. I think they probably should have been able to find some of it enough to equip
Yeah.
more of them with it.
So he's getting out of the prison in his riot gear, and he sees Tara like
Right.
over in
I
one
think-
section.
You're right. I think before that, he's like, I gotta get out of the prison. I'm just gonna like run straight into this like group of walkers and just rely on like not getting dragged down.
Oh yeah, he
And
does
it's
that
like,
a lot.
Yeah, that was so stupid because he could have like they probably should have been able to overpower him. There were like 20 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he just like runs right into. He's like, you probably could have gone around them.
Several times throughout the show, like Glenn seems to have like superhuman strength when it comes to walkers.
Wait, when were the other times?
I'm thinking of like in the beginning, like when him and Rick are in Atlanta, and they're walking with the walkers, and maybe not like superhuman strength, but like he seems to have like super abilities. Like his plot armor is thick. Like he always gets away
Yeah.
from the walkers. Like
No, that's true. Yeah.
it never seems like he's really in that much danger. And then we see that later on when they do like the psych out with killing him and stuff like that.
No, you're right. You're right. Oh, anyway, yes. So like after that, he of course survives, and then he sees Tara like she's just like on like a stoop or something. She's just
Right.
kind of like oh no, everyone's dead. Like what do I do now?
I'm just gonna sit here and not
Yeah.
do anything,
Uh-huh.
basically. And so he takes Tara with him,
Yeah.
and like it comes out that like she was with the governor, and she was like there when Herschel was killed and stuff like that. And how do they meet the 3?
Well, let's see. So then they're just kind of going along, and then they like encounter, I think, let's see, what happens to Glenn? I think he passes out from exhaustion, and then they're getting attacked by walkers, and then Tara is like bashing them, and then the truck drives off.
Right. And
And
she
then
starts
she's like-
yelling and cussing at it.
Yeah, she's like, I guess she doesn't have that accent, but she's like,
That's
you
Maggie.
like what you see? And then he's like, Abraham.
I was like,
Yeah.
who is he? Like, yeah, Abraham.
He's like, you like how pointy my nipples are?
That's the next episode.
No, it isn't. It's that one. It's the end of that episode.
And
His nipples are pointy throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
Also,
And so-
I just think it's interesting that Abraham's actor did not get in shape at all. Like, he's not in. Like,
it makes
he's
it more
not in
authentic.
good condition.
It makes it more authentic.
I don't know that it does, because I don't think he could really do very much looking the way he does, but that's
So
okay.
yeah, it's like a big military truck that
Right.
like drives up, and out comes Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita.
Yeah,
And that's the end of that episode.
that's correct. And then the next one, which is episode 11, Claimed. So let's see. That one opens with that group, like, the Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita, and then they're driving in the truck. Oh, and I mean, and so then they have Tara and Glenn, in the back, and Glenn is still still passed out. They just
they,
tossed
put
him in the back,
truck.
and
and he had no idea.
they're driving by Crook Road,
And every
which has like a
time-
bag tied to it that must have meat in it or something, because the walkers are like, and they're like,
that makes sense.
they're like
Yeah.
grabbing at this bag hanging from the road sign.
And every time they like make a turn or something like that, Tara's riding it on
Uh-huh.
her hand.
Yeah, which isn't she gonna run out of space?
Right. Yeah, because she like writes on the back and then she's writing on her palm, and like she is
Yeah.
running out of space already.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. I don't know if that's gonna work so well if they go for a while. I mean,
Yeah. Especially because later, like, Glenn says, like, how long have we been on here? And she's like, 3 hours. Like,
Oh.
so, like, yeah, their directions would have changed a lot by then.
Yeah. She's like, plus I've been sweating a lot and I can't read any of it anymore. Well, so let's see. And then they're going, oh, also, I think the fact that it opens with Crook Road is foreshadowing the group that's haranguing Rick in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
How they're crooks and they call themselves the sleazeballs, and they run around and act sleazy and sleep in beds. And go and sit on toilets.
With
so
their
let's
pants
see.
off.
Yeah. So okay. So then I think they're driving along, and then they stop, and then like the walkers come up to the truck, and then
Tara's
Abraham
gonna like shoot them.
Right, and then Abraham like gets out
Like, don't you shoot that?
like he just wanted to bash them. He was just in
that's
the
right.
mood to bash them.
And
so
he's
he
like
bashes
smiling
them.
while
Yeah.
he's bashing them. And like Tara just like watches him. And then she like gets this like really kind of weird smile on her face. And it totally looks like she's like turned on by Abraham.
Yeah.
But as we've seen previously and we see in the future, like Tara is supposed
She's
to
supposed
be
to
gay.
only be
Yeah.
interested in women. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's the actress.
And then she's like, I haven't seen that
She's
before.
like, I like how pointy your nipples are.
That's when you said it. And
I said it before. I said it in the previous episode.
she's like, I haven't seen that before. And he's like, what? You could have done that. And she's like, smile.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
like,
He's getting a lot of pleasure out of killing the walkers.
And he's like, what is it? I've got the greatest job in the world.
I-
Or
no,
like,
like,
I'm the luckiest guy in the
yeah.
world. Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And I think that's the end of that scene. And then it switches
Yeah.
to Michonne and Carl sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And they're talking. And he's like, oh, there was someone in my 3rd grade
Because she,
class
what is it?
that-
She's like making him food in that house. And it's something about,
Is it powdered milk?
maybe. Because I kind of missed the part where she was like, I don't know if she was trying to feed him soy or if it was powdered
so.
milk.
I
I
think
just
it was
remember, oh, maybe she was saying she liked soy milk? Something
yeah.
like that. And then Carl's like talking about 3rd grade again, which I don't know what grade he was supposed to have been in when the show began.
I think
but
third
I'm
makes
kind of
sense.
yeah, thank you. I think I'm thinking 3rd because like they named Judith after his 3rd grade teacher. I kind of have an issue with like I feel like if that's the case, I mean I do think that was probably the intention. I think if this was real, he would just be saying like my teacher,
Right.
like I don't
I
think
was
he would
thinking the
be
same
like
thing, like,
specifying 3rd
he
if
was
that
in
was
3rd
like
grade when the apocalypse
he'd
started.
just be like my
He would just say,
teacher,
"My teacher,"
like
yeah.
when I was in school or
He
like
wouldn't
in
be
school, you know.
specifying the
Yeah.
grade and everything like that. But I don't think he was old enough to be in 4th grade when the apocalypse
No, I
started.
mean he looked pretty young, yeah. So no, I think that was probably that makes a little bit more sense versus like he was in 3rd grade like a year or 2 ago, and he's
Right,
like,
and
"How
they
about that
named his
teacher?
teacher."
Like we'll just
Right,
we'll
right.
just name the baby after my teacher, not my current teacher."
So he's saying that like he would not drink soy milk and he would rather drink powdered
yeah.
milk. He's like, I'd rather drink Judith's formula, and then like gets all sad. And so he's like, I'm gonna go read my book. I think I'm gonna go finish my book. And then so,
Is that him saying that or
yeah.
Rick?
No,
Oh,
I think
okay.
that was him.
Okay.
And then Michonne walks over and she's talking to Rick, and Rick's shirt is like so torn up. It's like, why are you even wearing it? Like,
He's
it's
like, I want to see how far I can go before it disintegrates.
Well, yeah, because like the back is like slid up all the way his side, and like one of the arms is completely ripped off. But Michonne is in this like nice, pristine, clean.
Yeah,
white
she
shirt.
found a shirt that fit her perfectly, really easily. Yeah.
But you had a very good point that her headband.
Thank you. It's disgusting. Yeah,
That must
it
be
looks
really gross.
revolting. Like, I think once she took it off, that's when Rick was like, you know.
Just waited for that headband.
Yeah. He's like, okay, the last obstacle has been removed.
So Michonne is like saying that her and Carl are gonna go try to find some food, and Rick wants to come, but she's like, you were passed out yesterday, like you need your strength. And so
she's like, you're helpless. Stay here alone. We're going to take all of your weapons. You'll be fine.
Right.
Also, you might have a concussion. You might die if you go to sleep. Go take a nap.
And so, like, Rick is seeing them off and gives Carl his gun.
Yeah.
And the two of them walk off. And you have an issue with this because...
Yeah, I think it's strange that they give Rick's gun to children so often, like Carl and Judith, because...
Obviously not baby Judith, like in the future Judith.
Right. I mean, she, like... She's really young,
She
like,
is.
when they
I just
show
mean
her
she's
using
not,
it. Yeah.
Like, she's
Well,
a
anyway,
year old
because
now.
it's a Magnum pistol, I find it hard to believe that they'd be able to use it effectively. Like, at least Carl, maybe. I mean, like, in this episode, he's... I don't know. I think it'd be better to give it to Michonne, and give Carl something else. But definitely
Michonne's
Judith... Machete. Oh, her sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something like that would, probably make more sense. But yeah, I definitely have an issue with Judith using it. That just...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think they show her using it and it knocks her over. Like, I seem to remember at some point in the future, like,
I do not remember that.
she shoots at Negan with it or something and it, like, knocks her over. Maybe I'm misremembering
I do
that.
not
But that
remember
is what should happen. And so it's kind of silly. It's like, oh, because it's Rick's gun, and like because so it's like symbolic, but it's
Right.
like this actually does not make a ton of sense. But also, and it's just, is Rick like throughout the episode, it seems like Rick does not have anything to defend himself with. Like, it seems like he doesn't have a knife with him, and he should have at least like gone and gotten a kitchen
Right,
knife
I was gonna say that,
and
like,
gone
there
up,
are
you know,
knives
like
in the
because it's like
house.
I mean.
You never know.
They all just assume that it's like 100% safe here and like nothing could happen.
Right.
So yeah, he starts reading a collection of Jack London short stories and then he falls asleep.
Well, before that, he pushes the couch against the front
Well,
door.
because I was gonna say, yeah,
like he did, like when it was just
Right.
him and Carl, and he fell asleep on the couch. But yeah, he pushes it against the front door, and he goes up and takes a nap.
yeah.
And
So it doesn't make sense because then is there a scene in between there? Mm-hmm. What is it?
yeah, so Carl and Michonne just finished clearing
yeah.
like one house and getting stuff, and Michonne's like, did you find cookies? Did you find magazines or comic books? Like, did you find this?
Yeah.
She's like, did you find crazy cheese? And like pulls out a can of crazy cheese.
He's like, I don't want to eat that. I'm having diarrhea from the pudding still. Jesus.
And like he's obviously being super moody, and Michonne's just trying to make him laugh, and is really disgusting with the crazy cheese. Like puts way too much in her mouth and is like, bah.
Yeah.
And he's not laughing at all. And she's like, sorry, I'm not very good at making boys your age laugh. I'm better with toddlers, 2 and 3-year-olds. And
Yeah.
he's like,
He's
what
like,
do you
"What
mean
do you mean,
toddlers? She's like, I just fucking told you 2 and 3-year-olds. And then she's like, I had a toddler. He was 3. Used to be 2. No, I'm kidding. Like,
Yeah.
2 and 3. And she's like, he thought I was funny. And so then he starts like interrogating, and he's
Yeah.
like, what are you like? Were
Like,
you
what?
married?
Why didn't
Did
you
have
tell
more
me?
kids?
Why
Yeah.
didn't, like, yeah.
Yeah. And so she says that she'll answer one question per room after they clear the room.
Right.
And
Yeah, so then they're like going through the house and she's like telling Carl about her
Andre.
son and and then
they're in the hallway, and he's like, does a hallway count as a room?
it's like, no.
Right.
Like, a hallway is not a fucking room.
And she's like, if you can find something that we can use. And he just like,
Yeah,
he opens
I think this is
one-
really lazy. Like, this is stupid. It doesn't make sense.
He opens like one drawer and then picks up this like,
Painting like
that's covered.
because
Right.
Michonne has like, so the hallway is lined with like paintings
And
that like
she's
the person
looking at
living
them.
here has painted.
yeah.
And they're like they're like happy paintings
Yeah.
of like flowers
we
and
also
dogs
noticed
and stuff.
when they
but-
first came in the house, it's like pristinely clean.
Oh yeah, like, and just like the house that I think this one maybe even more so, but like
That Rick
like the
is
one
in?
that Rick is
Yeah.
in, like these houses
It's
are really
very
clean
clean.
inside.
And no one has been here for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
And so like there should be at least dust. There should be at least cobwebs. And we see like every now and then we'll see a cobweb.
They like,
but
later
it's
they do
very-
it like deliberately to try to, but it's also kind of noticeable because the rest of the house did not have
yes,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. there's very half-assed their attempts to like make these houses look a little like dirty from
Right.
all the time.
And so Carl's like, I found this painting, and then just like walks off.
He doesn't even say no because he's like, okay, he's like, what about this? Does this count? And she's like, and he just hands her this like painting like in a in like a wrapping, right? And then she's like, technically, I guess. Which, what the hell does that mean? Like, what do you like? No, like
You
this.
said
Like, what do you
we
mean?
can use. What are you gonna use this for? And he just like walks off, and so she unwraps it, and it's this like.
Well, wait, doesn't she? Does she tell him something first, or does she take it out first?
He leaves and she
Okay.
takes it out.
Okay. So anyway, this is all just like set up. Thinking about it, I think maybe what they were trying to say is like, oh, they can use this because there's like a spot on the wall with a hook that like doesn't have a painting on it.
In the house,
Like in the
that Rick
hallway,
is
like
in?
right where where Michonne and Carl are.
Oh.
She's looking at the painting, but I mean that's not like that's done very
Yeah.
badly, and that's
Yeah.
not clear. But that's the only thing that makes even a slight amount of sense. But anyway, so it's all just to set up Michonne taking the
Going-
painting out of this thing, and she's like, oh, she's like smiling and then it's like, oh, it's like this weird disturbing painting of like a woman, and there's like blood painted like in streaks, and like there's like an X over her mouth, and there's
And
like something
over
like
her
written
eye,
on it, and
yeah.
it's like oh, okay, like and then
She decides
because
to go into
Carl found it like over by this door at the end of the hallway, so she's like, uh-oh. And so then like she like goes over there, and
it's like a maze of rooms, because it's like one room is connected to the bathroom, which is connected to another room, which is connected to a third room. Like this third room that she goes to, you can only get to by going through the other rooms, it
Right.
seems, which is kind of strange.
kind of, I think one is supposed to, like the outer one's supposed to be a playroom, and then
Okay.
and then it's like the sleeping room like is the next one. I don't know,
I'm
but
not sure.
but so she goes up to the door, and she's like afraid she's gonna find something like a walker right away. But then she doesn't find anything, and so she's like, oh man, okay, I can totally let my guard down now.
Like literally like just looks in the room, doesn't even walk in, and like
Mm-hmm.
lowers her weapon. Like she's like, okay.
And so then there's some cobwebs on stuff and the things in here, but it's more noticeable than not having them, because it's like, well,
No,
then
there aren't
why
anywhere else.
like, why would these rooms be the only ones that are like dusty? Because these houses have clearly not been looted. So like
Right.
no one's, because like everything's where it should be, like nothing's been taken, which means that no one's been in these houses, which means that they should all be all cobwebby and dusty. And but anyway, so she finds like, so then there's a second room, with a sign on the doorknob that says like, shh, May is sleeping.
Yes.
And like, I'm a little confused by that, because then she goes into this sleeping room, which is like this super creepy pink color, which is meant to like contrast with that she finds like a dead family in there.
And it says May May on the wall.
Yes,
So I think
but it
this
looked
is
like there were,
May-May's
but it
room,
looked
but
like
there's-
there were
there's
two like
two
girls the
beds.
same age.
Yeah,
because
and
like
there's two
on one
beds.
bed. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right, because like there were, it seems like there were like two older children, maybe like teenagers.
And then two younger ones.
Yeah.
And then the mom in the rocking chair.
Yeah, who like I think she like poisoned them or something, and then like
And
put their
then-
bodies there and then shot herself.
I mean,
like,
she must have done something with their brainstem, or else they would have, the four
You're
kids would
right,
have come
you're
back as
right.
walkers.
that's actually kind of a problem, because you're right, because it didn't look like anything.
No, like one
But
of the
you're
kids is
right,
holding
yeah.
like a magazine.
And I think
Well,
the
there's-
implication is that she arranged them like that.
Okay.
Like I think the
Okay.
implication was that
She killed them.
like
and
they
then
did
arranged
not.
them like
Yeah,
that.
I think
Okay.
that was.
That makes sense, because there is like blood all over the walls, and that would be a lot if it was just from the mom.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And so then Michonne's like getting all upset, and she leaves because she hears Carl coming down the hall.
Yeah.
And Carl's like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Nothing." And he's like, there's a baby in there, isn't it? And
she's like, no, it's a dog. Like, which is kind of a strange thing to say.
I guess just it's better than saying it's a baby, because he thinks that they all think that
oh,
Judith
right.
is dead.
Yeah. And because then Carl says,
oh, my dad
let me name you, you know, and then he's like, you know, maybe her and Andre are somewhere together. And then Michonne's like, yeah, that's, you know, that's nice. Like, and so then,
so they just keep looking for stuff. And, okay, so then it goes back to Rick. And so Rick is asleep in the bed.
And then he hears, okay, somehow the sleazeballs got into the house.
With the couch.
Like, who knows how? I mean, I guess maybe they came in through the back door. Well, because later we see them going in and out of the front door. You know? So, like, presumably they pushed the door, like, they just pushed the couch out of the way.
But also...
And didn't question for a second, like, hey, maybe there's somebody in this house.
Right, I was going to say, like, but also if they had to push the couch out of the way, they should have been like, someone recently put this here. Like, someone is in this house, and they should start inspecting right away. But instead, they're just, like, downstairs.
Like, I need to sleep. And they're just, like, looking for beds.
They're arguing, and, like, one of them gets, like, knocked out.
You're right.
That's what wakes him up.
Well, because based on what we later see, you're right. It's, so later... what we find out about them, this was presumably someone stealing, because like the main guy is like, I don't abide stealing, and so then they like beat him to death. Like presumably that's what's going, you know, based on what we later. You're right. So that happens first. They like kill one of their members who stole or lied. I guess he also has a hate boner for lying.
He does, and so.
But a love boner for those like bouncy tennis balls.
Yes, he does. So Rick, like, hears it, and he rolls off the bed and gets under the bed, and then he, like, grabs the watch. And
the water bottle he had to, like, conceal that he's there. Go ahead.
And then one guy, like, walks in and gets on the bed. And...
which we see Rick, like, coming out. Well, this guy's, I don't know, going, like, looking in a different room, I guess, you know, for a bed.
Yeah, we see shots from the hallway into
and
the room.
You can like super clearly see Rick under the bed, which I think based on that, this guy should have been able to see him walking in that room. But so like this guy goes to sleep on the bed, and Rick's just...
he's trying to figure out like when to get out.
He's just like hiding under there. He's panicked. He's not sure what to do. So let's see, then he sleeps on there for a while, and Rick's just under the bed.
And then another guy comes in, he's like, are you comfy? And
he's like,
you woke me up to ask
if
me
you're comfortable, or if I'm comfortable.
And so then he's like, I want your bed. And he's like, no, there's two more. And they're like, they're kids' beds. I want this one. And so then they tussle. And then the one guy, the original guy, gets like choked out on the ground while he's like looking at Rick. Right, he sees Rick and he's like trying to tell the other one like stop, like he's trying to say someone's under here. But
and instead of saying there's a guy under here, he's like, Len, stop, and he just keeps saying that over and over. And
so okay, that guy passes out, and then the second guy, he gets in the bed, but he leaves one of his feet off the freaking bed.
He's like 1 foot on the he's like 12 inches on the bed. He's hanging off the side. He's like barely on the bed. It's like, why did you make such a stink?
You didn't want a kid's bed because you wanted one big enough, but you're not even going to use it properly.
Like, the kid's bed probably would have been fine for you. Why are you sleeping? Who sleeps like that? Yeah.
And so...
and he just leaves the other guy passed out on the ground.
So this guy falls asleep, and Rick decides, like, this is his chance to crawl out from under the bed.
But he crawls out on the side that the guy's leg is, like, blocking part, instead of the other side that he definitely has enough room to get out from.
And so then there's just kind of like this cat and mouse where like Rick is going from like room to room trying to sneak up on these guys, but also not get caught as they're walking around and they have no idea. Rick
then
is
they're
in there,
like,
apparently.
hey, there's a woman here. We found a washed shirt. Smells good.
Yeah, and they're like,
she's gonna come back. I'm gonna rape her first when she gets back. And they're all like, how do you know she's gonna come back? And Rick's like running around, and it's kind. I don't know. I mean, I understand that he just wants to like get out of there, but he really should have killed the two guys in the room when he first like came out from under the bed and taken their weapons and just killed these guys, because like because Michonne and Carl are going to come back,
Right.
and he's got to stop them from just wandering into this. Yeah. So then let's see. Then he's then he ends up in the bathroom.
Yeah. At one point, he like goes into the bathroom with the doors open. He like goes into the bathroom to like hide from these guys, and there's one of the guys, sitting on the toilet, and then like Rick attacks him and like
strangles him
until he passes out. But like this guy is sitting on the toilet, the lid is down, the guy's pants are on, and we see his boots next to the toilet, but we have like no idea what he's doing.
He was just sitting on this toilet for like, I think they should have given him like, he should have been doing something.
Yeah.
You know, he should have been like, I don't know, eating whatever, like sharpening his knife, cleaning his boots, eating, like
anything.
Yeah, because it does not make, because I did not remember that his pants were up. I thought Rick like walked in on him like using the toilet. That would make more sense. I guess they didn't want to bother with like shooting the fight in a way that wouldn't like expose this. You know what I mean?
Suppose, yeah.
Like I guess they were like, no, we'll just have his pants be up, but it raises a lot of questions.
So then Rick is able to sneak out of the window with this is a surprising rarity bathroom that actually has like a full size big window.
It's bigger than some of the other, like most of the other windows in this house.
Not just like a little bathroom window. Yeah. Also, the bathroom happens to be over like a rooftop from the second,
like an awning,
from the first floor.
So he can shimmy down and he gets his penis stuck in the gutters a couple of times. But no matter how pleasurable that is, he has to move. He has to move on. He has to escape. There's no time for this.
And so he gets down and he's like creeping around the house because he knows that Michonne and Carl are going to come back soon. And one of the guys comes out and he's like bouncing his ball.
Yeah,
and
he really likes his ball.
Yeah, he does. And Michonne and Carl are like starting to walk near the house. They don't see any of this is going on yet.
Well, I mean, you're right. I actually have, but okay, I have an issue, and I mean, okay, maybe Rick's not like in the best like frame of mind, like maybe he's not thinking totally logically. But Rick's thing is that he's just, because there's like he's crouching by the side of this porch. For maybe, like an hour or something. Like he's just crouching by the side of this porch instead of like getting away from trying to sneak away so he can, like preempt Carl and Michonne. Because I don't think it doesn't make sense, because he would have to like, by the time he sees them, he would have to run out and be like, run away. But then they just shoot them all from the house. Right. I mean, So go ahead.
The guy with the ball like hears something going on in the house and just like happens to walk away from the porch right as as Michonne and Carl are like in view. And so Rick just runs over to them and he's like, we gotta go, and like they start running away. So
you know what, I have a huge, because you left something out. I mean, it's okay. So okay, I have a huge problem with this because what I was remembering. So like Rick sees them coming up. And then he's like, "Oh no, what do I do?" Like,
he's gonna kill the guy.
You're right. And so, okay, then he hears people inside the house, the other guys, going like, "Oh no," because a walker's attacking them.
Oh yes.
And like, what I remembered, I thought it was Toilet Guy. I thought Rick killed Toilet Guy, and then Toilet Guy resurrected and like started attacking them.
But
which makes but like that doesn't that actually make a lot more sense than a walk? Like they just left a door open. Yeah. Apparently, while they were all taking naps and playing with balls.
Yeah. Well,
like how are they even alive?
It does make more sense because Rick intentionally like opened up the door after like making Toilet Guy pass out. Intentionally opened up the door before he went out the window. Yeah. So that actually makes a lot more sense that it would be Toilet Guy.
Because I like that. That's what I was, from what I remembered. It's like I thought that was Toilet, and I kind of thought that was his intention. Like Toilet Guy is gonna come back to life and attack them.
That makes sense.
That'll be a distraction. But like I actually, because they were like, stop her. They were like,
Right.
so it's a female walker. So I actually don't know. I don't think that was supposed to be the case, which I have a big problem with. But anyway.
So last group of this episode is Glenn and Tara in the back of the
True.
truck, and like Glenn gains consciousness again, and he asks about like if Tara saw like where one what they're in, but then two like if they saw like the bus or anything like that, and she's like, I did see the bus, everyone is dead.
Yeah.
And he's like, how long ago? And she's like 3 hours ago. And so Glenn's like, let me off, stop the truck, because he's gonna go back and look for Maggie. And Abraham just slips him off, and so then Glenn starts like hitting the window with the butt of his gun, and then Abraham like lets them off, and he starts walking away, and those two tussle. They have a fist fight.
Eventually, it takes a long ass time,
Yeah.
but yes.
And we do find out that like their mission is to get Eugene to Washington, because Eugene is saying that he's a scientist and know how this started and knows how to end it all. And so they start fighting, and so it's like Tara and Glenn and Abraham and Rosita up like in
behind the truck, like a little ways,
in the forefront of the scene.
Yeah, and then some walkers start coming out of the corn,
and Abraham's in the background of the scene. And he's yelling at them. He's like, hey, but they're all yelling at each
Eugene,
other.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Eugene.
Yeah.
And Eugene's yelling at them like, hey, like yelling to the other people, but they're fighting, so they don't hear. And so he grabs a gun and just starts like shooting all of them. And he shoots the truck.
He's like, whoops, and he just like shoots the truck many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they all shoot the walkers. But then the truck, the gas is just pouring out of it because it's been perforated.
And so Glenn is like, sorry about your truck, hope you make it to Washington. And he starts walking, and Tara's like, wait for me, I'm coming with you. And then Rosita starts following.
Yeah.
And Abraham says like, where are you going? And she's like, well, what else are we gonna do? And just keeps walking.
And then I think then Eugene's like, okay, let's go with, or let us go with, no, I don't know. And however he sounds, however Eugene's like Texas accent sounds. So then they all end up going
with Glenn
following Glenn, pretty much, yeah.
I think that's about the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think that's the end.